Here we go.
Are banned from female competition at the Olympics following a review of evidence about the sporting advantages of being born male.
Here we go. It's about damn time. It's about time.
The new policy may also bar female athletes with differences of sex development, possibly including boxers like Iman Khalif. I agree with that. I do. The reason why
Finally.
is that women, so this is the reason why. I mean, this is obviously a huge W.
It
This
is.
100% the right decision. This always should have been the case. It is an embarrassment that it wasn't. But yes, finally.
What's insane to me is the fact that we even have this conversation. If you're a biological male, you're just genetically built to be stronger. If you're competing in Olympic style competitions, you are going to be not only stronger than, like, if you're a man, you're going to be stronger naturally than like at least 50% of the population. And then you decide to go into the women's sport? Like, come on, bro. No.
Common sense and reason have prevailed. So transgender athletes now are not going to be competing against biological women.
Thank
I think
God.
this is something that everybody should have expected, but some people denied. The world is waking up. Yes, it's absolutely common sense. The reason why...
And this isn't an American thing. It's happening all over the world. Like, come on. It's biology.
Different is because women's spaces and women's sports are defined because of the fact
They're
that
women.
they are basically weaker and smaller. That's the reason. So if you have men competing against women in almost every single sport, there's like 3 exceptions in the whole.
If I'm not mistaken, I feel like most of the world, like the heavyweight world, like the deadlift, overhand press, like the heaviest weights in the world are held by people like Brian Shaw and Oberst and oh man, I can't even, Eddie Hall. Like, those are all men that are like fucking giants, dude. They're huge. They're not even like people. They're like fucking brick walls. They're like massive. No woman is even going to be able to come close to lifting the amount of weight those guys can lift. It's not even a question. Like,
world. But other than that, the top 1,000 people will all be men. It will be 1,000 out of 1,000 men. That's it. And so, not true? Well, it is absolutely true. And yeah, ping pong, yes, exactly. With exceptions. What exceptions? Long distance running, for example. Like, that's the first one I can think of. Like, extremely very...
well, like, yeah, because like women are smaller, so they could be faster, and like they could also probably beat a lot of men in swimming as well.
long distance,
unless it's like Michael Phelps, because apparently he's like genetically engineered to swim.
Marathon running, women and men are... like, men probably come out ahead on average more, but there's much more parity with that. Go to the charts. Well, I am. That's what I'm saying, right? And gymnastics, yeah, sure. Doubt it. Well, either way, tennis too. Well, no, obviously it's not tennis. I mean, even Serena Williams said it's not tennis. Anyway.
Yeah, the main person, the woman tennis player of the like world, the Olympic tennis player, said that it feels like it's at a disadvantage for her to go up against a biological male, because it's just not fair.
Obviously, men are better in sports. We all know this. They're bigger, stronger, faster, and everything else, right? So this is obviously a good thing. It's obviously a good thing. I can't see why anybody would complain about this. There are physical advantages for those being born male. Very crazy how something so obvious turned out to be true. Wow.
Jesus.
Wow, I can't look at this. Can you guys believe this? Oh my God. This is, I would have never expected this. This is so weird.
Right? Who would have thought?
Men are stronger than women. Wow. Men are stronger? Yes, it is. And Jorkin grip strength, yeah, the charts never lie. No, they don't. Well, at least this one doesn't. And so the last awards need to be stripped of the men that let women have another chance to reclaim the titles. Oh, this...
I do agree. I feel like all the women that were competing, all the transgender people that were competing in women's sports, they need to be stripped of their title and given to the second runner-up. All of them. They all need to be stripped of their titles.
woman. Yeah, sure.
And
Right. I think
and they can go and compete in something else. They could even make like a whole different sport, like the trans sport or whatever, and then they can compete against each other for that. That way, it's more fair. Because obviously, I mean, they're not in the men's for a reason, so they could make like their own like trans sport or something like that if they really feel that much about it.
think that's like a very like unique circumstance. Thank you to the culture warriors who spoke boldly the truth and prevailed. This is obviously something that should have happened. Everybody should have known this. It should have never even been a question. Let's see if I can watch this here.
This is a notable shift in position from the International Olympic Committee. Previously,
Thank
they'd
God.
left it to individual sports to decide whether or not transgender women could compete in women's sport. But now,
Yeah, I mean, I think that the reality is that everybody knows that this is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows that it's retarded and it's bullshit. The only reason why people put up with it is that there was a coalition of people that would systematically try to destroy your life in every single way possible if you took any oppositional role towards trans people being able to do anything that they wanted.
And now roles reversed. They're getting fucked.
Sky News understands that the International Olympic Committee is moving towards a blanket ban.
That's the only reason why this ever happened.
Yep.
Is that like you needed to have a total, like, think about this, right? These people took over the media. They took over the education institutions.
Gaming.
They took over higher education. They took over news.
They took over the government.
over entertainment. They took over social media. And even despite all of those things, the truth still prevails.
Yep. That should be a pretty big indicator. Like, seriously. That should be like a huge indicator that maybe you're not doing things the right way.
You cannot live at odds with biology. You
And the truth.
cannot live at odds with reality.
Yep.
And you cannot force everybody else to agree and comply with your delusion.
Thank you.
If you want to be trans, that's totally fine. But you can't compete against biological women in their sport division.
Thank
Okay?
you.
I feel like this is pretty fucking reasonable, okay? Like, I feel
Like,
like...
even so, like, even if you wanted to be trans, and the thing is the idea that it's too easy to claim that you're one gender and cheat is too... There's too many what ifs in that scenario. And there shouldn't. It's. I guess, in lack of a better word, it is making something more complicated than it needs to be. This should not be complicated. If you're a woman, you compete in women's sports. If you're a man, compete in male sports. And if you're trans, then I'm sorry, but you got to pick one. You know, like you can either compete as a male or not at all. Or if you're a woman and you want to compete, see that's kind of the reason why you don't see very many. You noticed how during this, you never saw a woman transition into a male and then try to compete in male sports. You only saw the men transition into women and then try to compete in the women's sports. Doesn't that raise any red flags for anybody? Like, come on.
I'm a very reasonable, average guy to say this. So, yeah, I don't know what the hell to say. So obvious. The emperor has no clothes? Yes. Even with all of that put together, they still couldn't be able to. They still couldn't hold this back. Was this to help the melting pot? Well, I don't know about that.
On transgender women competing in women's events. We also understand that there's been discussions about reintroducing sex testing, something that existed in the 60s until the late 90s. Now, the IOC is...
It's kind of crazy that was around in the 60s. It is. It's insanity. Like, why try to reinvent the wheel? They keep trying to do this and they just keep failing.
Taking this decision or moving towards it because so many other sports are. Athletics, swimming, cycling, amongst those who have decided to ban transgender women from women's events. Now, this...
You noticed how the coins aren't reversed, right? You noticed that. So, it's okay for a woman to transition into a man and then compete in male sports because they know that there's no fucking way they're going to get anywhere doing that. There's no way. I'm sorry. Biologically, you're biologically designed to fail when it comes to that. But it's completely okay if a woman decided to a man decided to transition into a woman and then go into women's sports. That doesn't, like, come on, bro. Come on.
Concerns about competitor advantages. I understand that last week ISC members...
It's a good thing this is over with.
Medical chief...
I'm so happy this is over with.
Chaos
The amount of mental gymnastics you have to fucking play to tell yourself that this is okay to do is outrageous.
And tracked at home. People are hyper reactive on the internet and active extremely emotionally. Yeah. I mean, any rational, logical person would tell you that it's retarded that this was ever the case at all. And I'm surprised it's taken this long.
See Dr. Jane Thornton that there are advantages in sporting terms from having those physical advantages having gone through male puberty, and that's created concerns about the...
It's not even that. If you look back at the study that they showed, let me just go back and scroll. Where to go? I think it was on this one. Even at the very beginning, you're going to have men out-competing women.
Yeah, even, like, at the very start, they just out-competed, just straight up.
Like, at the very extremes, which is, like, again, this is one of the things that, like, yeah, even at the very beginning, men are going to be out-competing women. That's just what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
People are in such a war against reality.
Women's sport category. There is a new IC president.
Do you think there needs to be exceptions for competitors being allowed, like the woman with the biological defect that gives her higher levels of testosterone?
No. If you're a woman, you compete in women's sports. If you're a male, you compete in male sports. No exceptions. This is ridiculous. Like, so, like, in certain instances, I don't, let me think. How can I put this? Okay. It's like if you're a felon, you can't vote. Oh, but they didn't really do anything that it doesn't matter. They're still a felon. They can't vote. Oh, wait, no. They're a felon. They can't vote. Like, come on.
I think that if you have a biological defect that makes you so, like, let's look at a couple of other, like, similar circumstances and then think about whether it makes sense or not. So, for example, think about a weight class, right? If somebody is like 7 feet tall, does that mean that they don't have to lose the requisite amount of weight in order to compete in, like, the lightweight competition?
Oh, thank you.
Because their body would, if it weighed that little, they would die? Do you think that we have to provide an opportunity for that person to compete at a weight that is appropriate for them individually, and then collectively make everybody else in the sport have to exist around that?
Exactly. That's why they have weight divisions. Like, come on. I didn't even think about the weight division.
No, obviously not. Obviously not. But is this something that, like, they were basically born into this, right? They were born into this. It's nothing that they can't control. They can't control this.
Yeah, they could just take stuff that will help with that. If you're a biological woman and you've got higher testosterone, you can do something about that. There are plenty of things out there that will help you.
About it. But it's still a biological reality that in adding a person like that into the competitive field will put that person at a tremendous advantage, right? The needs of the many. And also, here's the other big difference, is that a lot of women, obviously, and this is just the case with anything, if they have these biological defects, they can still compete against men. But if you have something that makes you, in one way or another, a biological male in some cases, especially physically, then you are effectively taking advantage of the system. That's what's happening. I want to play basketball 5'9". Yes, exactly. Okay, but then should Shaq not be able to compete in basketball because he's taller than everybody else at birth? I'm just saying I can see it from the other angle. Well, no, of course not. And again, so you're talking about, like, so should really, really tall people be able to play basketball? Because, like, you know, there's, like, guys in, like, high school that are, like, you know, 7 feet tall, right? They're, like, playing basketball in high school, and they're just beating everybody. Number one, a very good, you know, I guarantee you that, you know, at like 15 or 16 years old, it doesn't matter how tall some other guy is, LeBron James at 16 would totally beat him, right? And LeBron James probably then was like 6'6", 6'7", right? So like still a pretty tall guy, but a lot shorter than 7 feet tall. But the difference really of what I'm saying is that a women's division is defined by its exclusivity. Men's basketball is not defined by its exclusivity. Weight classes in basketball, or sorry, in boxing are defined by their exclusivity.
Yep.
The Paralympics are defined by their exclusivity. So in places and in groups that are defined by their exclusivity, it makes a lot more sense to be more strict on who is allowed.
There you go.
Drawing comparisons like Shaq being really tall in the NBA doesn't make any sense because the NBA is not a place that is defined by its exclusivity.
Exactly.
Anybody can theoretically compete and play in the NBA. Anybody can do it that they want. Anybody in the whole world can play and compete in the NBA.
Yep.
But the difference is that women's sports
Well, like, you could even break it down even more. Like, there's a reason why you don't see a lot of short people playing in the NBA. Do you think they want someone that's my height, I'm 5'6", playing in the NBA? No, fuck no. They want the fucking lanky-ass giant that's going to make a mid-court shot barely trying. That's who the fuck they want. Like, this idea that we're going to do all these mental gymnastics to try and justify putting people in places they don't belong is completely and totally stupid and useless.
Exist
like
because of the nature of them being exclusive. Paralympics exist by the nature of them being exclusive. If you put Floyd Mayweather up against Mike Tyson, oh geez, I wonder who would win. That's why you have weight classes, obviously. I'm a 200 pounds MMA fighter, but I identify as 120 pounds. Yes, exactly. And so if you're good enough, yes, black's more though. Well, what I'm saying is that if you're white, black, Asian, like they had Yao Ming, right? I mean, people say like, oh, Asians are shorter on average. Well, that guy was like 7'5" or something like that, right? So the fact is that, and again, but he's able to play in the NBA and be just fine. And was he the best player in the NBA? No, he wasn't. He wasn't. Because again, being able to be really big physically, there are a lot of other things that you need to be.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, he was bad as fuck. I don't think he's bad, but like I don't remember him being like a great player. So yeah.
I mean, it's still such a stupid conversation.